The rain began just before sunset, turning Portland's streets into mirrors of silver and shadow. Evelyn Carter sat at her kitchen table sketching design ideas for a client when her phone buzzed. The name Lydia lit up the screen, her cousin, the one who only called when something unexpected was happening. Evelyn answered, but before she could greet her, Lydia's tired voice came through. "Evie, can I ask you a huge favor? Ethan's soccer camp got canceled, and I have to fly to Seattle for work in the morning. Could he stay with you tonight?" Evelyn hesitated. It had been years since she'd spent any time around a teenager, especially a 17-year-old boy she barely remembered from childhood family gatherings. But Lydia sounded desperate, and Evelyn had the room. Her apartment was quiet. Too quiet sometimes. "Of course," she said finally. "Tell him to come over." An hour later, the doorbell rang. The young man standing on her doorstep wasn't the shy kid she remembered. Ethan was tall now, lean from sports, his hair damp and tousled from the rain, his gaze steady but kind. He smiled politely, the kind of smile that held both manners and a hint of teenage awkwardness. "Hey, Aunt Evie," he said softly. He still used that name, even though they weren't truly aunt and nephew. Evelyn stepped aside to let him in. The smell of rain followed him, fresh, nostalgic, a little comforting. He dropped his backpack near the door with a quiet thud. "You can take the guest room," she said, leading him down the short hall. "Bathroom's right across from it. Towels are in the cabinet." "Thanks," he said, glancing around. "You live alone now?" Evelyn nodded. "Just me and my plants," she replied, trying for a light tone. But even she could hear the faint loneliness tucked inside her words. Dinner was simple: pasta and garlic bread. They ate at the kitchen counter because the dining table felt too formal. At first, conversation came in small bursts, safe topics like school, soccer, and college plans. But as the rain deepened outside, Ethan started to open up. He talked about the pressure he felt to figure out his future, how everyone expected him to already know who he wanted to be. Evelyn listened quietly, touched by his honesty. "You don't have to have everything figured out at 17, she said gently. "Yeah? Try telling my coach that," he answered with a small laugh. It felt easy, natural, like they were slipping into a rhythm neither of them had anticipated. After dinner, Evelyn made hot chocolate. They sat by the window, watching rain streak down the glass in silver trails. The city lights outside blurred into soft shapes. "When I was your age," Evelyn said, "I thought I had to chase everything at once. Career, love, freedom. But I learned that slowing down helps you see what's real." Ethan was quiet for a moment. "Do you ever feel like you missed something?" The question caught her off guard. She looked at him, his young, thoughtful face, and realized he wasn't just making small talk. He meant it, all the time, she admitted. But missing something doesn't mean you can't find something else. Silence filled the room, not awkward, but reflective. Outside, thunder rolled softly, distant and calm. Evelyn felt something stir inside her, a quiet awareness of how quickly time had slipped by. She wasn't exactly sad, but there was a tender ache in her chest, the kind that comes when you remember how new life once felt. Later, she showed Ethan where the extra blankets were. He thanked her again, his voice polite but warm. When she turned off the lights and headed toward her room, she paused in the hallway. From the guest room came the faint sound of music from his phone, a slow, thoughtful tune that matched the rhythm of the rain. It reminded her of being young, lying awake, listening to songs that made you dream about everything you didn't yet understand. Evelyn lay in bed but couldn't fall asleep right away. Her mind replayed their conversation, the questions, the way his eyes had searched for meaning. She hadn't expected to feel moved by a simple overnight visit, and yet she did. Maybe it was the storm, maybe it was the quiet house, or maybe it was how connection sometimes appears uninvited, through people you thought had drifted far away. Outside, the rain eased into a gentle drizzle. The world felt softer, quieter. Evelyn turned toward the window and smiled faintly, her cousin out of a simple sense of family duty. But as the night deepened, Evelyn felt something shift quietly within her. A gentle reminder that even after years spent alone, her heart still knew how to listen. Down the hall, Ethan switched off his music and glanced out the rain-speckled window. He found himself thinking how strange, and unexpectedly comforting, it was to talk so easily with someone so much older, as if the years between them didn't matter at all.